Your move, your move.
What's up guys, it's Rota here and welcome back to yet another amazing video on the channel. For today I got you a updated Domain Monarch deck profile, and I think the card that just released in Cyberstorm Access has completely broken the deck, hence why I thought I would bring you yet another Monarch deck profile, but you guys have been loving it anyway, so win-win. Make sure that if you are new around here, you do leave a like on the video. You might as well comment and subscribe whilst you're down there. 93% of you that watch this type of video are not subscribed. What are you doing? Help a brother out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you check out my membership program for exclusive perks and early access to videos. Special thanks to Can Boska, who is part of my membership program. You are a legend, my guy. But without any further ado, let's get straight into this Domain Monarch updated deck profile. So starting off with this updated Monarch deck profile, we have triple Erebus, the Underworld Monarch. I think this guy is by far the best Monarch that exists. The fact that he sends 2 spells or traps as a Foolish Burial to the graveyard to then non-targeting shuffle a card from the field, graveyard, or your opponent's hand at random is crazy. And during the main phase quick effect, you can discard a Monarch spell or trap and add him back to your hand, or any other Monarch basically that he lists, so the stats. So I think this guy is by far the best, and the reason I play 3. I actually dropped down the Aether to 2. Now people probably think that this is the best Monarch. For me personally, I think he's just a worse version of Erebus. He is nice during your opponent's turn, but that's basically his entire point. He's only good in your opponent's turn, because he summons himself and then special summons a Monarch out the deck. Since it's not tribute summoned, you can't bring out Erebus and get its effect, so you're basically forced to bring out either another copy of himself or the one copy of Kuraz. I'm still playing Kuraz. I think it's, if you're going to play the Ether, in order to get the most value out of him, you got to play the Kuraz for now. I know there is a new Monarch coming out that we could potentially swap for Kuraz if the stats align. I'm not entirely sure on the stats, but for now I'm playing 1 Kuraz and 2 Ether. Another thing about Ether is that since we are playing that brilliant new spell, we can't actually activate the effects of monsters in hand, and Ether activates in hand during our opponent's turn, so I don't think there's a reason to be playing him at 3 anymore. I think 2 is perfectly fine. You can always Ether, summon Ether, bounce Ether to the hand on the end phase, and then you can still have Ether during your opponent's turn. If you have like a Monarch Storm 4 or whatever, you still have Disruption. So we're playing 6 Tribute Summon Monarchs. We are also playing double of the Vanity's Fiend and the 1 Majesty's Fiend. This brings up to 9 tributes in total. I don't know if I'll play any more, because 9 is quite a big number to be playing, and you don't want to be bricking on these guys. Unfortunately, with the nature of Monarchs, you sometimes just will brick, but I think this build is very consistent, and more often than not, you will get your plays going. So I'm playing 2 Vanity's Fiend simply from the fact that he is unsearchable, whereas Majesty's Fiend is. Majesty's Fiend is searchable with Return of the Monarch, which is now an absolutely insane card. Again, thanks to the new spell allowing us to have 2 normal summons in 1 turn. That means Return can add Majesty's Fiend, and then with your additional normal, you can just summon your Majesty's Fiend onto the field. So that is why I'm playing 2 and 1. This has quickly become one of my favorite decks, and I am on a mission to max rarity it. So hopefully in future videos on Monarch deck profiles, you will see these guys at the highest rarity possible. For the Squires, we have double of the Idea and double of the Eidos. So a lot of people play 3 and 3. I think the more you play Monarchs, the more you realize that Idea is kind of the choke point of the deck. If they interact with her in any way, and they stop her effect from resolving, you are basically screwed. So that is why I'm only playing 2 Idea. Eidos is a lot nicer, because if you just hard open him, you can normal him and immediately get the extra normal summon, and you are protected from Ash, unlike Idea. We are playing the triple Book of Moon, so if they do Imperm or Veiler the Idea, we can chain the Book of Moon to protect her, flip her down, and the effect will still resolve. But I think 2 and 2 is perfectly fine, to be honest with you. You don't need any more. The only thing that is really good about Idea is when she goes to the graveyard, she can add you a banished spell or trap, so that is why I'm still playing her. I'm still playing her as well, because at 2 is just a good number, so I wouldn't be playing her at anything more than 2. I don't play Rota, I don't play 1 for 1. 2 copies is more than enough, to be honest. For our extenders or starters, our tribute fodder, whatever you need, we have triple Kashtira Fenrir. Fenrir is essential. He's essential because he can add another copy of himself to the hand for future plays as well. So you always will have an extender, and I just think he's really good. The fact that his Earth comes up in the side deck as well, which I will be showing you. And he's just a good card, guys. He's just absolutely insane. Him plus Vanity's Fiend is basically GG for your opponents. They can't special, and when they do activate monster effect, it will get banished face down. So really, really nice, and I couldn't recommend Kashtira Fenrir, you know, anymore. I think apart from Kashtira, he's actually just amazing in Monarchs. And we have triple of the, you know, it's really a Monarch, because I think Monarchs are like the only deck that can play this card. And Chumfright, he's not a Monarch, but he's basically just as good as a Monarch. If you don't know what he does, you pendulum scale him, he draws you a card and he goes to the extra deck, and then he special summons himself from the extra deck to your field, and then he banishes himself when he leaves the field. So it doesn't inflict with anything, to be honest with you. The only thing it conflicts with is the field spell, which while he's in the extra deck, your opponent can special summon from the extra deck, but then you can just special summon him and then the lock is back. So, and he's just free fodder, and he's a draw one. So this card is at 3 of. I see lots of people not playing 3 copies of him. I'd ask them why, because this card, you just always want to see it, to be honest. Even if you draw multiples, you can just do it again next turn. And Monarchs is a deck that's very stun, so you will usually always get a turn 3 and 4. So that is why I think playing triple and Chumfright is basically a must-do, to be honest. So that is it for the monsters. I believe there are 19 monsters, so very, very heavy monster lineup. But again, I just think the monsters are really what make the deck, and they're just all very, very good, to be honest with you. There isn't a single monster in here that when I see, I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't see it, apart from the Kuraz, because the Kuraz you always want to summon from the deck. Moving on to the spells, I think the main reason we play Monarchs in 2023 is for Pantheism. Pantheism is the most broken draw spell I have ever used in the history of me playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't say that lightly. This card, you send 1 Monarch spell or trap from your hand to the graveyard, which if you're sending the Prime Monarchs is just free. You draw 2 cards, and that's not once per turn, guys. And the broken effect, because that's not broken enough, is you can banish this card, reveal 3 Monarch spell traps from your 3 Monarch spell or traps from your deck. They don't have to be different names, and your opponent randomly picks one. So you can reveal 3, let's say, Tenacity of the Monarchs, and you basically get Tenacity. Reveal 3 Domain of the Monarchs, you get 3 Domain. It's crazy. 3 Stormforth, you get 3 Stormforth. This card is broken. I understand why it was at 1 all those years ago. I don't think, you know, Monarch will ever get hit again. I think that the deck's sort of, I wouldn't say being power crept, because I still think Monarchs are just really good still. But I don't think Monarchs is a deck that needs to be hit at the moment, Konami. We have triple of the Monarchs Stormforth. This card is just really good as well. If you were to tribute a monster, you can tribute using one of your opponents. Just blanket, doesn't target, it doesn't even say what phase. You can just, if they're going to blow it up, like for example the MST, you just chain it, and then whenever they do have a monster, you can just tribute summon it. It doesn't have to be monsters currently on the field. It's just an insane card. Just really, really nice. You can't special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this. Oh no! Anyways, we don't actually play an extra deck, so that literally doesn't matter. We have triple Domain of the Monarchs. This is, I think, the second reason why you play Monarchs apart from Pantheism. This card is just so floodgatey. When you control a tribute summon monster, your opponent cannot summon monsters from the extra deck, providing you don't have anything in the extra deck. And we don't play anything in the extra deck, so your opponent is always under the lock, as long as you have a tribute summon monster that they can't special summon monsters from the extra deck. And I'm pretty sure every meta deck right now special summons from the extra deck. I mean, I guess the only thing, is Kashtira, just because they can just normal summon a bunch of guys and special them, and they're big. But apart from that, the card's so good. You can reveal a big Monarch in your hand, reduce its level by 2, basically means that it's only 1 tribute, guys. That is crazy. And there's a third effect, in case that wasn't broken enough. If a tribute summon monster you control attacks, it gains 800 during the damage step. So that is crazy as well. So really, really nice. Makes your Monarchs really, I think it makes, if you have 2-8, the highest thing you can out via battle is 3-6, which is really nice, because 3k, usually there are a lot of monsters with 3k, so you can out it with Domain when you attack. And also if you can't out them, you just tribute them anyway with Stormforth. So perfect, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend anything less than 3, because playing less than 3 means that you can't reveal 3 of Pantheism, which means your opponent will never give you the card. We have triple Tenacity of the Monarchs. Again, I think this card's brilliant. Just a rotor, just by revealing a Monarch or your Majesty's Fiend, because it has the exact same stats. So, and you just add a Monarch spell or trap, and just ridiculous card, to be honest with you. For the one-offs, 1 Return of the Monarchs and 1 March of the Monarchs. I play Return of the Monarchs because of the new spell, which is the Time-Tearing Morganite, which I'll be showing shortly. Time-Tearing Morganite plus Return of the Monarchs equals a free Majesty's Fiend on the field. So what you're going to do is you're going to tribute summon a Monarch. Doesn't matter which one. You're going to trigger Return. You're going to add Majesty's Fiend. You're going to activate the Time-Tearing Morganite. Get an additional normal summon. You're going to get a body on the field, or you can use the one you have on the field. You can use a Stormforth. It doesn't matter. And then with your additional normal summon, you can just tribute and summon your Majesty's Fiend, which is really, really crazy. So that's really nice. And March of the Monarchs is a way to get protection for your big guys. If you know your opponent has a lot of targeting, so usually Sky Strikers, Reekers need to target in order to tribute, you activate March of the Monarchs, and then they just can't do a damn thing. That is why you play March of the Monarchs as well. 1 of each, because I don't think they're vital. They're the only Monarch spells I don't play at 3, because, again, as I said, they're not vital, and you can easily search them. For the non-Monarch spells, I think we play 6, 3 of them being triple the Book of Moon. Book of Moon is ridiculous in this deck. I can't stress enough just how good Book of Moon is. Not only is it good going second, but going first, if they Veiler, if they Imperm you, if they do anything that targets to negate, they can even Ghost Mourner you. What you do is you chain your Book of Moon to your Squires, you flip them down, and then they still get their effects anyway. So that's ridiculous. Also, if Skill Drain is on the field, tribute summon a Monarch, uses effect, use Book of Moon, flip it face down, and the effect still resolves. And it's just absolutely insane, guys. I can't stress enough how good Book of Moon is. And for the spell that breaks everything, absolutely everything in Monarchs. I only have 1 at the moment, but I have ordered 2 more. I think my light's just gone off, so apologies for that. So what we have is the Time-Tearing Morganite. If you don't know what this card does, I suggest you read it, and then you'll realize why this card is broken. What you're going to do when you activate this card is, you can't activate monster effects in the hand, which is absolutely fine considering we don't play hand traps, and the only card that this hits is the Ether. We draw 2 cards every draw phase. So in the draw phase, this replaces itself. So you go -1 in card advantage. In the draw phase, you get an additional card, and that's brilliant. And this is for the rest of the duel, by the way. And you can conduct 2 normal summons or sets per turn, not just 1. And this isn't even all the effects yet. That is really important because we have the Squire that gives us an additional normal. This actually doesn't counteract with Time-Tearing Morganite, so you can actually stack them. Morganite doesn't give you an additional, it just changes a set amount, which means that you can Time-Tearing and use the Squire in the same turn, and you'll get 3 normal summons that way. So that is really nice. Basically the new Flunderies over here. And if that wasn't broken enough, if you open 2 of these cards, which you might think is a bad thing, but it's not. Because once it's in the graveyard, you can banish this copy, discard the Time-Tearing Morganite, so 2 of the same card. Your opponent cannot respond. Well, they cannot activate monster effects when you normal summon this turn. If they couldn't respond, it would be great, but can't activate monster effects when you normal summon this turn, meaning that your tribute summon effects of your Monarchs cannot be hand trapped, which is ridiculous. So Time-Tearing Morganite, I think this card alone just makes Monarchs playable again, to be honest with you. I've done a lot of testing, and this card's just crazy every single time. And for the last card in the deck, again, the best trap card we play, and the only trap card we play, the Prime Monarch. This card we always send off Pantheism if we draw it. Sometimes we even add it to discard it off Pantheism, or we always Foolish Burial it with our big Monarchs to the graveyard to then gain their effects. This card's crazy. You can banish this card. No, you can banish a card, special summon this from the graveyard, and it's a free monster to tribute. Or if you hard open it and for whatever reason you don't discard it, you can activate it and it's a draw every single turn by putting back 2 of your Monarch spells. So that effect hardly ever comes up. We'll always be using the banish effect to bring it back. So that is the main deck. It is 40 cards. Let's get on to the side deck because we don't have an extra deck. Moving on to the side deck. This is, of course, a work in progress. I'm not entirely happy with what I got so far, but I'm just going to be showing you guys anyway. So we got triple of the Bestial Magnamut. I think this card is going to be a lot more popular this format. Now, well, I say this format, I say when the next ban list comes out and hopefully Kashtira, Runic and all that stuff get hit. So triple the Bestial Magnamut. The good thing is you summon it by banishing a light or dark, and it's a tribute summon during your turn. that you can use for your monarchs. And of course, it does search you a dragon, which is your bestial Druisworm. So you get 2 tribute fodders basically, and Druisworm does send the monster to the graveyard when it is tribute summoned over. So that is why we're playing that. We have, this is the spicy tech, 1 Grammurg the Mega Monarch. This is for the back row decks. If you don't know what this card does, is when it is tribute summoned, you target 2 set cards on the field, you destroy them. If you tributed over an earth monster, which your Fenrir is, you draw a card. So that's pretty nice, to be honest with you. You target 2 sets, you destroy them, and you draw a card. So really, really nice. And you just side it in and you can search it. We have the 1 Frost Blast of the Monarchs. This you always side in, usually with your Grammurg, because that is in the back row matchups. If you don't know what Frost Blast does, if you hard draw it, which you can just search it if you need, and you control a Monarch, basically, a monster with 2,400 more attack or 1,000 defense, target 1 set card and destroy it, and then you can banish this card and the Monarch spell trap from your graveyard, target another set card and destroy it. And that's not once per turn, you can do both effects. So between these 2 cards, you're blowing up 4 sets. So that is why I think it's worth siding. Alongside that, we play the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster as well. Just the only card that isn't searchable, spell and trap removal. So I think you just play the best one. We have the 1 Change of Heart, because it allows us to take opponent's monsters and then tribute over them, which is nice. We have the playset of Solemn Judgment. This protects us from Lightning Storm, evenly matched, and those types of things. And then we have the triple evenly matched to help break boards going second. So that is the end of the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my Monarch deck profile. I'm going to be max raritying this deck because I'm absolutely falling in love with it. Just the look your opponent gives you when you basically lock them is just priceless. And I think the Time Rendering Morganite is a fantastic spell card that really has brought the deck back, at least into my eyes, and hopefully into the eyes of many of you guys that watch this video, and you give them Monarchs another chance and a chance for them to win your heart all over again. But I'm Rogue here. I thank you all for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you all in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!